What is up, you guys? It is your boy Phoenix Brenton here, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bears. Now, before we get in today's video, we are almost done with the series with now 7 NFL teams left. And again, you can comment down below any teams you would like to see. Also, we're getting close to 700 subscribers, at least by the time I'm recording this, because I'm recording this weeks ahead of time, like literally we're in July 31st. But anyways, enough said. Let's just get into the video, shall we? And I think let's start off with their off season, aka free agency. And their free agency was not great. And I love when people talk about the Bears and how they had a kind of a good offseason to some aspect. Well, you look at the Packers and people are like, oh, their offseason sucked or something like that. I just really want to go down the line and just tell you why this team did not have a great offseason. Like, I'm tired of people saying it, if anybody even says it. First of all, you traded DJ Moore, which I know that isn't an insane thing, but, like, if you look at their roster, at their wide receiving position, which I'll talk about later, it's a massive step back in terms of, first of all, veteran appearance, and also, in my opinion, talent at that receiving core. You also lost Tremaine Edmunds, which honestly isn't a big loss, but is still a decent linebacker. You lost Kevin Byard, which was the leading interception leader last year. You traded for Garrett Bradbury. That's not a move that's going to help your team. You also went and signed. They actually did went and signed Devin Bush, which I think that was actually a pretty good move. And they also did went and signed Cody Bryant. Like, those are nice moves and all, but you also lost Jawan Brisker as well, who I think was a decent safety for the team. Jonathan Owens, which was nice depth on that team. So you also lost Jerry Garner Johnson. That's who they lost as well. You kind of see what I mean. Like, this team did lose some decent talent last offseason, and they didn't gain much back. Like, Cody Bryant is a great player. Like, I think he's a solid player. Was definitely a few of the big pieces of their Super Bowl. They also went and lost Nahshon Wright, by the way, which I forgot to mention him. He was a very underrated player that I feel like not a lot of people are talking about, that they did wind up in losing. And then let's go look at their draft. First of all, I do like the Dylan Feynman pick. I was very surprised that he was even available at pick 25. I thought he was going to be gone a little bit later. Malik Muhammad was a good pick. I liked him. Logan James will be a nice replacement to Drew Dahlman, I think was his name, which he retired. But there's two things I hated about their draft. One, why are you drafting Sam Roach in round 3? Like, let me look at the Bears depth chart for you. At tight end, they have Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, and then you have the guy who they drafted just this year. Why do you have 3 tight ends that are at least decent? I don't understand that. I mean, obviously, I know Cole Kmet's going to be gone or something. But, like, why haven't you just traded him? That is something I have never understood. Like, I understand 2 tight end personnels. They're getting more popular. All right? I understand. Like, it's almost like now, like, every, 3 drive, or every 3 plays, it's like they run 2 tight end personnels. I understand that. But that is just not a worth of a 3rd round draft pick. And also, one thing I hated was that they did not address the defensive line. Like, I like Garmin Dexter. I like Gary Jarrett. I like Montez Sweat. But I'm not in love with them like Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett or, I mean, even hell, like prime Jadeveon Clowney. Like, I think a prime Jadeveon Clowney is better than any of these players. That's saying something, because he didn't even record double-digit sacks on this team. Like, there are a lot of players I think would actually significantly improve this roster. I mean, for crying out loud, there's a reason why they went and swing for the fences for Max Crosby. There's a reason why they went and tried to go get. Um, well, there's also a reason why I feel like they could have been in consideration for Myles Garrett. So this team has just so many issues that I just didn't like. Like the fact you did not address, which could have been one of the biggest problems they had heading into the offseason, is a little bit of a concern for me. Now, like I said, I like their secondary. You have Jalen Johnson, who's definitely a top 10 corner. Cody Bryant, who might honestly be a top 10 safety. Like, they have a pretty good unit. And I also do think that you have to put into consideration that this is a really good offensive line. Maybe not at left tackle, but like besides that, it's a pretty good offensive line. But I think that the two positions that I'm concerned about with their offense, like I'm concerned about their defensive line on defense. I'm concerned about their honestly, I'm also kind of concerned about their linebacking core. I mean, I like Devin Bush and DJ Edwards, but like what's your depth kind of afterwards? But it is the quarterback and the wide receiving positions. Now, as I said before, they lost DJ Moore. You know what your starting three receivers are heading into the season? Rome Odunze, Luther Vernon III, and Kyle Raymore, who you just signed, by the way. That is not a great three receiving core. And in a league where it's like you kind of do need three receivers sometimes, this is just not a good thing. And also, if one of your receivers gets injured, your receiving core is screwed. Because I think arguably one of the biggest problems with this team is their depth. Like, their depth is horrible. Maybe besides like the running back position. And then we got to talk about the quarterback position. Like, I think Caleb Williams is getting a little bit too much love. Because if you really go look at his statistics, and I think this is a very interesting point to consider, is that let's look at his stats. I want to see his actual stats of last year. So, for 2025, in terms of the passing, he had a 58.1 completion percentage, which is one of the lowest in the league, may I add. 3,942 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. That's not great. And also, looking at his QBR, which is quarterback rating, he was ranked 16th with 58.2. And people are saying he's like the 8th best quarterback in the league. Yeah, I mean, I'm also was on that train as well, but the more I've been looking at his stats and the more I've been looking back at the games that he did end up playing and stuff, there are a lot of moments where it's like, yeah, I don't think he really deserves to be a top 10 quarterback. Which is why I cannot say that this man is he's just kind of overrated. I know like a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but that's just how I think. And also, I do want to talk about is their schedule as well, because their schedule is not easy. It is a very, very, very difficult. Because not including your NFC North rivals, which is already pretty hard as is, you have to go against Carolina on the road to start off week 1, which then you have to go against the Vikings at home. You have to go against the Eagles at home, which then you get an easy game against the Jets. But then you go play Green Bay on the road, even without Micah Parsons, it's a little difficult. Atlanta on the road, New England at home, Seattle on the road, Tampa at home. Then you get a little easy game with the Saints. But then the Lions on the road, Jacksonville at home, Miami on the road, pretty easy. But then Buffalo at home, Packers and Lions at home, which then you have Minnesota on the road. That's a pretty difficult schedule after week 11. Actually, no, after week... Well, yeah, I'd say after week 11, not include Miami. I'd say that's a pretty rough road, to be honest with you. So let's start off with their floor. Let's start off, if everything goes wrong, this is what's going to happen. So let's start off with the division games. I do think that every team except the Vikings can sweep you in this case. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but Green Bay almost swept you last year. Before I mentioned that. And they almost beat you 3 times last year. So, I don't think it's out of the world to say that they could easily sweep the Bears if everything goes right. So, Lions, I think, makes sense because they also just swept you last year, and that was despite their down season. But I do think that the Vikings will only beat you once. I do think you'll split the series with them. You will lose on the road against Carolina. You will lose at home against Philly, but you will get the win at home, obviously, against New York. I'm not that over-biased. I think you will also beat the Falcons on the road. You will lose to the Patriots at home. You will lose to the Seahawks on the road. You will beat the Bucs, though, at home. Bye week, you get the Saints at home. I think you will win that easily because you have a bye week. I also think you could beat Jacksonville at home. You will beat the Dolphins on the road, but you will lose to the Bills on the road. Putting their floor at a 7-10. Again, still decent floor. I don't want people to come at me and say, "Oh wow, this team's floor should be higher." 7-10 is not that bad. I mean, for instance, I'm saying the Texans are a Super Bowl contender, and I gave their floor 7-10. I don't want to hear it. Moving on. So let's then talk about the ceiling. And I do think that there is a reality where they do sweep the Packers. I think that's the case. I do think you will still split the series with the Lions, but you will sweep the Vikings. So that's how the division games are going to go. In the meantime, let's go look at their other games. I think they will beat Carolina on the road. I think you will beat Philly at home, because guess what? You did that last year. I obviously, again, all the wins are still applied. New England, I think you can't beat New England at home. You will still lose to Seattle, though, on the road. You will still lose to Buffalo on the road, but I think that's probably just about it. Putting their ceiling at 14-3. Now, I don't think they're going to go really far in the playoffs. One is because the Rams exist, and I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. And two, this is a very, very tough division. So I do not assume that they might sweep them twice. They might sweep their division twice. Honestly, I wouldn't be the biggest surprise if it just split in every game. So if we go look at my opinion of how the split will go, where the Packers will beat you at home, but you will beat them on the road, and then the Vikings will also beat you, though, on the road, that puts their games at 12-5. So there's a little bit more of a step back towards it, which is what I think people need to consider about this. And again, some of these games are still not easy games to win, that I have them winning. Like, Detroit at home is not easy. Green Bay at home, Green Bay on the road is not easy even without Micah Parsons. Like, there are some considerable things that you do have to think about when you're talking about this team. And I'm not going to say they're Super Bowl contenders because, in my opinion, I don't even think they're probably going to win their division. I know their ceiling is 12-5, but I think the Lions will still probably find out a way to win their division at like 13-4 or something. Like, that's just me. But anyways, guys, I do really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next video.